time to start the show. And I'm going to get started right after this.
All right, Ty. So what part of the year are we at, buddy? Are we in the dark forest like this?
Uh-huh.
Or are we on the beach like that?
Ooh. Let's do the beach since everybody else is on vacation.
Yeah.
Why
That's
not
exactly it. Let's do the beach.
Let's do the beach. Yeah.
I mean, when it comes to 49er news, Mr. Ayuk, keeps saying tweets. Now who's he pointing these tweets at? Is he talking about the 49ers? Or is he talking to the media that keeps reporting the stuff that's happening? Because he is actually talking to the 49ers.
Did he say something new? I didn't even see.
I think he said something about all the trade rumors. Something new came up. I mostly ignore it because it's just like, yeah. But the fact that he talks to John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, it's like, yeah, if you're going to actually get traded or not. Okay, they're going to tell you. They're not going to.
John Lynch tells them. He's straight up with them. He lets them know.
Oh yeah, like Debo. He wanted to be traded. All right, here you go. We'll trade you to the Commanders.
Well, think about it, Ayuk last season when he was acting foolish with his contract. And John told them, hey, I'm about to trade you to New England or Pittsburgh. It's going down. You have rubbed me wrong. And that's when Brandon Ayuk called Kyle and was like, please don't let him trade me. Go tell him to stop. So these players know when they're going to get traded. It is not a surprise.
Well, and the teams we're talking about here, folks, they had a rookie quarterback in Drake May. And Pittsburgh's quarterback situation it was Russell Wilson and Justin Fields during that time frame.
Yep.
So it's like, are you really going to end up in a better position if you get traded? There was talk about trading him to the Commanders, but they ended up with Debo, and they have their extension talks going on with Scary Terry, right?
Yeah.
So that they have their wide receivers, and once they extend Scary Terry, it's not like we can say, oh yeah, here, take Ayuk's contract on, Ooh, New England or the Browns.
But
the Browns,
But hold on. The last post I seen from Brandon Ayuk was the YouTube post where he was clearly talking to some content creator or somebody when he was like, you talking about trading me while I'm laying in a hospital bed, peeing blood or whatever. He was like, ain't nobody trading for me. And he did some laughing emojis. And I agree in the fact that this dude has suffered a serious knee injury. Who's going to trade for a guy like that? Like, what team in their right mind would trade for a guy who tore up his knee completely?
There is no team in their right mind.
Exactly.
Right? This is the NFL. Not every team is in their right mind.
That's true. There's teams like Cleveland and, Jacksonville who they do dumb things. But would they do something this obviously dumb? We're like a guy who we really don't know if he's going to take the field this year. That's how much of his knee he tore up. Would you trade for that and still pay him? What's going to make $20 million this year? You got to pay him $20 million. You're going to trade for a guy just to have him sit on the couch and pay him all that cash? That would be one of the
with
dumbest
roster
moves
bonus
ever.
he took and everything. I think he's already took in $45 million at this point. But that's not, the salary cap or the this year's salary. That's a signing bonus thing, like cap or a roster bonus, right?
Yeah, he was still talking to cash. Yeah, and I'm with you, Papa J. I think
we paid him
was
quite a bit of money to piss that blood and sit in the hospital bed, right? Like,
yeah.
Oh boy. Now what's new here? I think that guy's the whole reason we have Juice still on the team. Oh.
Yeah.
Juice and his infinite love for the man.
Yeah. Eyes up here.
That's right. What are you staring at?
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, he was, I think I'm with you, Papa J. I think BA was talking to someone of the Conehead universe who was talking all this trash about him. And I probably think one of them reached out to him, was like, hey, why don't you come on my show? Like, you talk trash about me, then you want me on your show, really? Yeah. Not gonna happen.
Yeah, that's like Kinlaw called in that one time. We all remember what happened there. That was they had very
some
unprofessional.
They had some ongoing personal beef though.
Yes.
Kinlaw didn't like when he said things about him off the field. Grant said things about Javon off the field. So they had some personal things going on. So yeah.
And it's like now when it comes to outrunning a guy, I think Grant Cohn might have been able to outrun Kinlaw.
Yeah, true.
He might have been able to.
Yep.
That'd be about
unless somebody trips him, which if he would have run by the wrong player, exactly. Guy like Juice would just stick out his foot, trip, oops. Maybe land on top of him too. Oops, I fell too. Oh, I can't get off of you. Oh, here comes Javon. Let me get up now.
Oh, here we go. Larry won't do that. He visited him in the hospital. I'm not sure when he says Larry. I'm not sure if he's talking about Krug.
Larry Krueger. Yeah, so
Brad
Larry
loves
I know.
Him.
Yeah.
David wouldn't.
We know him and Brad are cool. David's not that type of guy.
Lombardi he's talking about, not me.
Mayoko's too respectful, yeah. Well, there's other ones too, but yeah.
Oh boy. It's summertime too. That'd be a hard thing to do. Now so here in a couple of weeks, guess what happens it's about 3 weeks away, ain't it?
It is finally. My goodness.
Is it? I mean,
seems like it's taking forever.
Is that when training camp actually starts? Like, when does training camp start? I know that there's been a thing going like how much training camp tickets are, and I wish I lived close enough to go.
I didn't even see that they were doing tickets this year. I thought they shut it down because I didn't see anything about them.
Maybe they're not. Mid-July is what this is saying. They're not giving me a January 8th, June 18th. Now it says training camp dates. Okay. That was the day of the article, though. So.
Okay.
Rookies report July 15th. We are
there you go
8 days away from the rookies reporting.
Yep, that's next week.
Veterans report July 22nd.
The following week, right? Yeah. So there you go.
So that's when all the reports are about people, not looking good. Everyone, throwing their opinion out there. And there's all kinds of people that actually have their favorites. Like some guys are talking about an undrafted rookie wide receiver.
Yeah.
He's got quite the hill to climb to make the team, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we have to have Demarcus Robinson on the 53, even though he's starting the year with some sort of suspension.
Yeah. Well, why do you think we have to have him there?
Is that the rule, or is that
a rule for what? Why would we just signed him as a free agent, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think his infraction was on our clock.
No, his infraction wasn't on our clock. That was with the previous team. But we don't have to have him on the roster. He's a free agent. We can cut him, just like we did that quarterback that year. I forget which one it was, but remember we signed a quarterback to be a backup.
I remember.
And he was a free agent, and we wound up cutting him before the season started. Same thing could happen to Demarcus Robinson.
And but he's going to be allowed to participate in training camp and everything else, so he's going to get his chance to show what he can do.
Yeah,
right.
He's been there through OTAs and everything, so he's going to be there through camp.
I look at it like the undrafted free agent rookie, and his name escapes me because that's how much he's on my radar here. Okay, but he has to make a roster that has Juwan Jennings, Riggy Purcell, Jacob Cowing, the rookie Jordan Watkins, right? So there's 4 guys, and we have our return specialist, the guy that we took last in the draft.
That's 5,
right? So that's 5. So and we do typically carry 6, so that there's a chance. But we also have guys left over from last year, like Tariq Owens. I mean, there's a chance, right? Eventually, maybe we see Ayuk this year.
Right.
I don't got my hopes up there, buddy. I do not. Okay.
It's optimistic. He returns, week 9, 10, whatever.
I mean, if he returns,
you still don't know.
We all know that, like, the first year-ish back from an ACL, you're not really the same.
Mm-hmm.
It takes more
You're
time
slowed up.
to get back to being the same.
Exactly. It takes a full year to get back after the year you come back.
That's
what everyone says. Yeah.
So during 2026, he'll, be back.
Right.
But at the same time, it would be nice for him to come back so we can see he's gonna be something, because we're paying him a lot of money, right? Yeah. So it would be nice to see that he's still gonna be something, versus the knees just ruined him. That would. 2 years removed. We're talking about my third cousin again. I have around here I have no family tie. It's my mom, my sister is my daughter, right? Pretty soon gonna be the granddaughter, folks. That's coming up in September. So and that's it around here, though. If I go to the Pacific Northwest, I could literally take a month-long vacation and go visit all of my family, and I still wouldn't get to everybody's house.
Oh, wow. Okay?
I go back to the Indiana area. That's where my mom's side's from. There's actually my dad's side back there, too. I could do the same thing, spend the same amount of time, and still not be it. There are cousins I don't even know the name of. Okay. Wow. So my family's actually big. Amazing. They're just not around here.
Yeah.
Right.
Gotcha.
So
Kenny asks, are we talking about the overpaid diva? Yes, we are talking about Brock Purdy.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh. What? Likes fannies? Oh. A British Denny's. That's interesting. Hold on, Ty.
Okay.
You're kind of in the Northeast ish, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of where Kenny's from. Is he? Do you even know what he's talking about?
No. I mean, I like Fanny's too, but it ain't a diner.
Ooh, Kenny loves Denny's. I used to go to Denny's for coffee when I was younger. But so I'm actually going to look at the 49ers roster so I can get the name of that kid. Everyone's like, ooh, I like this guy because he's probably going to get cut.
Nah, they'll be on the they'll try to get him on the practice squad if anything. They've been talking about him too much. And you know, you can never have a big 6'4" receiver with speed. I mean, we've never had that.
That's the thing I like about him the most too.
Yeah.
Because you got a guy that's 6'4" that can jump, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many corners in the league are 6'4"? There's a couple.
How many?
There's a couple, you know. But then you have your guys like the Mighty Mouse, so Upton Stout, Mr. 5'8", but has a 37.5-foot vertical,
right?
Or inch vertical, not about foot. Holy crap, that kid, that guy'd be able to leap a building.
Isaiah Nair. Isaiah Nair is his name.
I'm trying to look it up, but this thing's giving me some crap.
I'm telling you his name. Pay attention. Isaiah Nair.
Isaiah Nair.
6'4", 218 pounds, out of Nebraska.
And a lot of people are really high on the guy, and I'm not saying he's not going to make the team because we probably will carry 6 wide receivers.
Yeah, I'm just saying in the pecking order, he's low man on the totem pole. He has, like you said, he has an uphill battle because we have so many incumbents, guys returning, etc. So that's why I say, like, the only possibility I can see if we don't keep a Curtis Robinson because we want to focus on this young guy and his potential, upside for the future. And being an undrafted free agent, he's hella cheap. He won't even count toward the 53-man roster with his salary. So when you get into like the economics of things plus the future, it makes sense to keep him.
And it really does. Ross the boss, huh?
Ross the boss, buddy.
Best hands on the team, but he didn't even make the team a couple years ago.
Yep. Ain't that something?
I've heard that whole best hands on the team thing. I was like, huh? What are you talking about? Luke Farrell's definitely making the team because he's going to be our 6th offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it is.
Play heavily into the run game. Might leak him out on some passes. But I think there's a specific plan to use him.
We have Jonathan Garvin. That's interesting. But no, I'm looking through the roster going, ooh, Richie Grant. It has him listed as a safety.
Mm-hmm.
Is he a safety or a corner? He's a safety, huh?
Yeah.
That was one of our special team signings there.
Yep.
Which we definitely needed to improve our special teams. Okay.
Yes, we did.
There's Guerrero, Sebastian Gutierrez.
Yep.
There's Matt Hennessy. The guy I hope beats out Jake Brindle because we need something different going on there.
Hopefully he can. I'm telling you, that's going to be the battle to look out for in camp.
That's definitely a battle I'll be keeping my eye on because I kind of feel Kyle should, with the team this young, he should take the same approach that, our former great coach, Bill Walsh, took. It's an open competition every year for the starting spot. Best player gets it. And that's just what needs to happen to inspire players to be better, right?
Exactly.
And with as young of a team as we got, there might be some serious, competition going on here.
Yep.
I'm actually looking at guys like Jordan Elliott, like, are you going to make the cut?
Mm-hmm.
We sign him for 2 years.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you got some young guys you're going to have to beat out now.
Exactly. Like, none of these guys are really locks, especially those guys we signed, like a Jordan Elliott, on a 2-year deal. All of a sudden, he's in the last year of that deal. Like, there's no financial hardship for cutting him. We got the cap space. We'll move on from him. His number will be cleared after this season. So it's a no-brainer to move on from him if he gets beat out.
Ooh. So I'm looking through the list, and some interesting stuff is coming to my mind here. Tight ends. We got Ross Dwelly. Beyond the two that we know for a fact are making the roster, George Kittle, Luke Farrell, right?
Yep.
We got Jake Tongas. We got Ross Dwelly. We got Patrick Willis, not Braden Willis. I wish Patrick Willis was a tight end. That would have been, that would have been like beast. Holy crap, But yeah, I mean Braden Willis, Jake Tongas. Isn't there Mason Klein on the? Yeah, Mason Klein right there.
Klein, yeah.
Mason Klein. Big old guy, too. 6 foot. This has him listed at 6'7". I'm going to say 6'6". But 260.
Yep.
That's a big tight end right there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like what? And typically we keep 4. So honestly, look at Ross Dwelly. Like, I think you have an uphill battle here because, the Jake Tongas, he made the roster last year. A lot of people didn't think he would, but he did, right? And now his red shirt comes off, so we'll see. Him being tight end 3, we'll see what happens there. Or if he does win tight end 3. But, Braden Willis, I kind of feel like he's a long shot to make the roster with Mason Klein and Jake Tongas and Ross Dwelly also competing for that spot.
Same way we talked about Isaiah Nair being the low man on the totem pole. Braden Willis is the low man on the totem pole for tight ends. He has a huge uphill battle. So unless he shows like he's blocking and catching both equally like a demon, he may be a casualty.
Oh, yeah, we might cut him, and then, he'll get picked up by some other team like this one guy, Cameron Latou. But he still hasn't cracked their roster.
Nope. So we'll see. There's a lot of tight ends that came out in the draft, too, so it's going to be tough for these guys.
It is.
Yeah.
And, we just extended George Kittle, so obviously we're probably going to want to keep an inexpensive 2 backups there.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Jake Tongas is going to be cheap for 3 more years. Mason Klein's going to be cheap for 3 more years. Right? So, and Braden Willis, I think this is going to be is it his 3rd year?
3rd year. Yeah.
So he's only going to be with us for 2 more years if they end up keeping him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like, development-wise, he might be on his way out.
Yeah, exactly.
Ross Dwelly, if we keep him, it's only a 1 year, 1 year deal. So I don't know. I honestly think when it comes to the roster, cap management also has to do with the decisions here, right?
Oh yeah.
So you're looking at it like, all right, well, we need to keep some cheaper guys that have upside on the roster.
Yeah. Versus
this veteran guy that we know is going to do what he does, which Ross Dwelly. What I think I actually did the math a while ago. I think it was $277,000 a catch.
Mm-hmm.
But what he ended up, making over the course of his Niner career. Then he ended up in Miami with our other guy, Charlie Warner, the blocking tight end.
Yep.
Right? Kenny. Ross Bottom Dweller Dwelly.
Good one.
Oh no. Now, is this the hottest take I think I've had on my show so far this year?
It was a hot one. My goodness.
Johnson and the Dallas Cowboys will win the NFC East over the Eagles. Those are my bold takes of 2025.
And that Cowboys one is real bold.
Well, that's actually, the NFC East is a mess, and it's not a us problem at this point.
Nope, that's the them problem.
That's exactly it. An us problem is how much of a mess the NFC West is going to be. You never know what the Cardinals are going to do, but they're kind of the Cardinals, right?
Exactly.
They're pesky though. They're
pesky. Yeah, we kind of say this every year about them. You never know, and they are pesky. But then at the end of the day, they wind up 9-7 or 9-8. I should say nowadays 8-9, right?
Yeah. And the Seattle Seahawks, they're trying to rebuild that team, and honestly, I do think they have a good head coach. This is the guy that, in 2024 on Christmas Day, he was the defensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens, right?
Mm-hmm.
Remember that game we lost? That fantastic defensive plan he got to roll his guys in and have them all get their hands up and jump when Purdy was throwing.
Yep.
It was a great game plan. I have to give him credit. That's Seattle Seahawks head coach. So I expect them to be a pain. I do.
Yeah.
But, what they're going to do over the course of the year, your guess is as good as mine. They're a young team. So, and, you have the Rams, who a lot of guys are like, oh, these guys, like some sports analysts are saying, oh, these guys could end up in the Super Bowl. Come on. We don't know what they're going to do yet. Sean McVay is a good coach. He's fielding a pretty decent team.
Mm-hmm.
They
only went 10-7 last year. Pretty sure that was their record. It wasn't like, it was 15-2.
And that's exactly it. Is they did good, but they didn't do great.
Yeah.
They weren't the Philadelphia Eagles of the NFC. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And every year there's a roster changeover. They got rid of Cooper Kupp. They signed Devontae Adams.
Yep.
And they still have Puka Nacua. They're currently in contract talks with Kyrie Irving. Is it Kyrie? Did I get that right?
For what? I don't even know.
Kyron Williams. Kyrie Irving's some basketball player.
He's a basketball player.
But yeah, Kyron Williams. They're currently in contract talks with him. And it's almost like they might have some bad taste in their mouth from the Todd Gurley deal. They signed him. The guy went downhill. Was never
He got that knee injury, yeah.
Yeah, he got injured. So.
Yeah. Get that knee injury, and it was basically over for him.
And that's kind of what happened with Ayuk. Is he had a knee injury, but he's not a running back; he's a wide receiver.
Yeah, it's different things.
Wide receivers, tear up their knees and come back, and they're they're still good. you can't tell they're only on one leg, but they say something about it after their career's over. Shout out to Michael Irvin.
Yeah.
You know, he actually said that after he tore his knee up, he was pretty much a one-legged wide receiver, but he was still good.
Yeah.
Right?
Still run routes, still get open, still, you know, do that little push off, get open.
Ooh. Karen Williams. Is that his mom? I'm just kidding. I don't know. Oh, hold on. Kyler Murray and MHG are cheeks. Oh, Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, you know.
What, are you saying that they play Call of Duty together? They join each other's lobbies in the.
They probably do.
Multiplayer, like
they probably do. For real.
But, and you know what? When it comes to the rest of the NFC South, I have no idea who's. Your prediction's as good as mine on who's going to win that.
You know, it seems like every year any of those teams could come out. It could change. And with a record of
Carolina played some games last year that makes me think they could come around. Right?
Yeah, they started to play well at the end of the season, for real.
The Saints are on their way down. They
literally don't have a quarterback and don't know who's going to be the quarterback. And them and the Cleveland Browns got the biggest question marks at the most important position.
Yeah,
and that's not a great place to be.
They've actually took 3 guys in the last 3 years. Not in the Tyler Shaw was, I think he was the 2nd round pick actually.
Mm-hmm.
The guy they took this year.
Yeah.
So, but then they took Spencer Rattler last year. I think Kobe Hayner the year before.
Yep.
So they're a mess. You know, Atlanta, they still have Kirk Cousins.
Yep. Penix Jr. is there. At least they have quarterbacks.
Jr.
Right?
I was watching his tape, and that kid's made some very impressive throws. It's like,
yeah, he can sling it.
You guys need to keep playing him if you want to be.
He's got an arm. Oh yeah, he can spin that thing. So they definitely want to move forward with him. Just got to find out something to do with Kurt.
Yeah, Captain Kurt. Well, I honestly think they're waiting for some team to hit, you know, like preseason and maybe
panic button,
goes down and there you go.
Trade for him,
right?
Yeah. His trade partner, you got to take the contract.
A year or 2 away. I mean, but I don't know. I don't know, Kenny. They showed flashes last year, buddy. But that's like the Cardinals. They're always a year or 2 away, you know.
Yeah.
Going back 20 years, they've been a year or 2 away. You know, like they did make a Super Bowl though with Kurt Warner.
Yep. That was a long time ago. It was a long time ago though. Well, Larry Fitzgerald and Anquan Bolden are not walking through that building anymore. You know?
That's right. Anquan Bolden. But you know, so training camp, it does 8 days away from the rookies reporting. I'm actually kind of excited about that.
Yeah.
You know?
I love seeing the rookies at camp. Love seeing them get their reps.
You know, it's like the 22nd. That's not. I honestly think that's mandatory for them to show up.
Yeah.
So will some veterans and some young guys show up during the rookie, you know, camp? Probably. Right.
Veterans have been known to show up during rookie camp. There's some veterans who are just always around the facility, always in the area. So they're there, like a Fred Warner, right? He tends to be there. So it isn't out of the realm that other guys would show up too. But this is camp now. It's all mandatory. This isn't like OTAs where it's mandatory, but not really. It's just highly suggested, but they call it mandatory that you attend.
You know, we're talking about rookies. Did you know that there's a problem with 2nd round picks right now?
That they're not signing? Yeah.
That only 2 out of the 32 have signed?
Yep.
And, the Cleveland Browns, it's the 33rd overall pick. I could see why they signed him to a fully guaranteed 4-year contract. Okay. Because, But then the Texans go and do it. They were the pick right after them. They go and do it. They sign their rookie fully guaranteed. So now all the other rookies are like, hey.
Yeah. I want fully guaranteed too. Yeah.
And there's obviously 30 teams in the league that are going, that's not exactly how it works.
Yep.
So obviously 8 days, we have 8 days to resolve that situation, or hopefully it resolves before, July 15th.
Right.
But we also have that waiver that the rookie can sign to come participate, right?
Yeah.
The Cincinnati Bengals, I think there's actually 2 teams. I don't know the other team. I would have to talk to Levi, the Ravens fan that comes on Corey Davis 49er Wednesday. But the Cincinnati Bengals are one of those teams that do not sign rookies to that waiver. They want them to sign their contracts to show up.
Right.
The Cincinnati Bengals are also don't have either of their first 2 picks signed. Because Shamar Stewart wants that fully guaranteed contract.
Yeah.
They want an out.
Yeah.
And
they're hung up on some language, yeah.
It's like, wow. Cincinnati's hardcore, unless you're Joe Burrow or, Jamar Chase. Hey, I actually got his name right the first time. That's a miracle. So, it's just one of those things. I'm glad we're not the Cincinnati Bengals, because it kind of seems like their owner's like, yeah, I don't want to pay all this guaranteed money. Oh, 3? I'm going to have to look that up, Kenny. I'm going to have to look that up.
Oh, wow.
If someone signed a contract that's not fully guaranteed, that will help all the other teams out. Okay?
Yeah, exactly.
But, yeah, But, I'm going to have to look that up, Kenny, I hope. So, what you got? Are you guys going live for the East Coast Red and Gold this week? Or?
We're back this Wednesday, 8 p.m. East Coast Red and Gold podcast. Me, Jess, Matt, and Dina will be on. So come check us out, peeps.
It's still at 2. I'm not seeing a 3rd.
Are you doing Corey Davis Wednesdays?
As of June 27th, that is not accurate.
Nope. That's a little behind the times right there.
75% of the remaining unsigned NFL rookies are second-round picks.
There you go. There you go.
And this is as of June 12th. Why is everything behind like that? That's interesting. Okay, I asked specifically NFL here. It says Carson Schwarzenegger, Browns linebacker, and Jaden Higgins, Texans wide receiver. What's the date on this, though? According to the Acme Packing Company. Now, hold on a second here. If any of y'all watch Looney Tunes.
Exactly. Good old Acme.
That's 8 days ago. No. I don't see any news about someone else signing, though. That's what I was primarily looking for.
Yeah.
But
I don't think anything's happened yet. You doing your show on Wednesday?
Yes. Matter of fact, Corey Davis 49er Wednesday is happening. We're the subject is actually going to be legal issues this week.
Ooh.
Like players and legal issues. Like Devontae Turpin from the Dallas Cowboys just got busted with pot. I don't know the full story. I just saw that in the headlines. I was like,
right.
So?
Yeah.
You know, like, it's one of those things that is so widely, used and is actually decriminalized in some states, which doesn't necessarily make it legal.
Yeah.
Right? But it's like at the point where why don't y'all just legalize it? Because you know how much tax money the government could be getting right now?
Yeah, they are.
But
there's a lot of states where it is, and they're collecting a lot of money.
It's true. But I don't look at. I've seen a cop with someone pulled over on the side of the road, looking at it like, yeah, this ain't worth my time. They just dumped it on the ground, stomped on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this ain't worth my time. All right, I'm writing you a speeding ticket. Carry on.
Yeah, that's much easier. Less paperwork. Oh yeah, issue that speeding ticket and move on.
Maybe the cop's like isn't going, oh, I don't feel like dealing. I just less paperwork the better today. Not enough coffee. Could be one of those days. You never know, right?
Yeah.
Did I ever tell you this story? I was driving home from work. This is many years ago. I was in my Nissan Frontier. It does not have a big stereo system. I was jamming some music. And this cop pulls up alongside me. He's got his cherries on. He's behind an old lady, a nice old lady. I'm like, looking at him like, geez, okay. And he's like, I turned down. I'm like, yeah. He's like, I could give you a ticket for that music. I'm like, I'd rather you give me a ticket for the music than pull her the lady that's on a fixed income over.
Yeah.
I cranked my music back up. He looked mad though. He was having.
I bet he was.
I seriously pull me over, please. Let that old lady go.
Mm-hmm.
But he still pulled her over. Hopefully he took what I said to heart and didn't actually give her a ticket, though.
Right. Yeah. Just let her be.
Just give her a warning.
Exactly. Tell her to get home safe.
Everyone has a grandma, damn it. Or
exactly.
had. Right?
Yep.
Depending on what stage of life you're in. Everyone's had a grandma. So, folks, we're going to get on out of here. Like I said, 8 days away from training camp starting. Hopefully there's some news in a week about the Alfred Collins and all these second rounders signing their contracts.
Yeah. Well, screw the rest of them. We just concerned about Collins.
Yeah.
As long as we get news about him,
all the rest of them can remain on set.
Exactly. Screw the rest of them.
So, hey, don't forget, East Coast Red and Gold, folks. Wednesday, 5 p.m. PST, 8 p.m.
EST.
Eastern Standard Time. That's right. And Corey Davis, 49er Wednesday, which is at 7 p.m. PST. That's like 10 o'clock Eastern Standard.
10 Eastern, indeed.
So don't forget to tune in. And we'll be talking about how much trouble some of these players get themselves in. Wise decisions. You're in the spotlight.
Yep.
So, as Corey Davis says, go 49ers and F all 31 other teams.